The influenza virus, which we normally refer to as flu, is a contagious virus that infects our respiratory tracts, that's our nasal cavity, our throat, and our lungs. We have four different types of the virus: A, B, C, and D. D infecting cattle and occasionally some livestock, C causing mild infections, A and B leading to our seasonal flus, A infecting both animals and humans. The virus is a pleomorphic shaped virus, and for the purpose of this presentation, we'll show it as spherical. It's an RNA virus. It has matrix protein, which helps to maintain the shape of the virus. Phospholipid layer, which it steals from the host cells, and this makes it much more prone to hand washing and sanitization. Has spikes on the surface. This spikes, we have two main types, the HA, which helps the virus to be able to infect our cells, then the NA, which helps the virus to escape from our cells when it finishes producing in our cells. When one has flu, cough, sneeze, or talk to you, droplets are released, which ends up on surfaces such as door handles, phones, tables, lift buttons, taps, and any surface at all that you can think of. Occasionally, especially in crowded places, these droplets will be in the air, and if you happen to breathe them in, the virus gets into your respiratory tract, gets into your cell, and produce its young ones. Why the influenza virus? The influenza virus leads to seasonal flus. In addition, it leads to pandemics. Historically, we've had uh, six main pandemics recorded in history, one in the 19th century, four of them in the 20th century, and the 21st century has had its own share of the flu pandemic, being the 2009-2010 swine flu H1N1. And the most deadly of all these pandemics was the Spanish flu in 1918 to 1920, which killed over 40 to 50 million people. Although historically, deaths as a result of the influenza virus has drastically reduced, but the H1N1, which is the latest one with the least number of deaths, had over 151,000 deaths, which is not a smaller number. And therefore, we need to protect ourselves from the influenza virus. If you get the virus, you may have fever, headache, body aches, runny nose, diarrhea, tummy pain, dry cough, sleeplessness, as well as sore throat, and you may feel very tired. Individuals such as immunocompromised individuals, young children, pregnant women, older adults, and people with chronic conditions such as chronic lung disease are much more prone to this virus. How do we then protect ourselves? Normally, every year we have vaccines that you need to take, and if you have the opportunity, do not skip to take your vaccines. Hand washing, one of the best ways of controlling these viruses. And if you have any symptom of flu, please, when coughing or sneezing, make sure you cover your nose in order not to spread it around. If you are diagnosed of having flu, please stay home and make sure you take some good rest. In addition to that, don't forget to visit the hospital if you exhibit any symptoms of flu. Make sure you adhere to all the medications that you are being prescribed to take. In addition to that, too, in healthcare settings, let's make sure we always decontaminate our surfaces. And in public places as well, we shouldn't forget to do that. As much as possible, reduce number of contacts with individuals who have the virus in order not to contract it and spread it all around. And if it's not possible for you to avoid contact with individuals who have it, make sure you put on nose mask to protect yourself. Stay active and eat very healthily. This will help boost your immune system to be able to help fight the virus. Why do you have to also take your vaccines every year? The reason being that when the virus gets into your cell, it attaches to your cell, releases its materials into your cells, get into the nucleus of your cell, produce within your cell more proteins of its kind, package the protein into smaller and younger viruses, which ends up leaving your cell and infect other cells. This process actually goes on several times in a day, and the virus, unfortunately, are unable to correct mistakes within its genomes. And in the course of this process, lots of errors are actually made in the course of reproduction. As such, these errors that are committed goes into the advantage of the virus in the sense that new viruses come out as a result of these errors that are made. And our immune system are unable to properly recognize these new strains of viruses that are produced. And therefore, year in and year out, there needs to be a vaccine against any newly emerging strain in order to be able to properly and effectively fight those viruses. This process is actually what we call the antigenic drift. And in addition to that, too, we have what we call antigenic shift. With the antigenic shift, two different viruses infects our cells, and these two viruses exchange genetic material. And in the course of production, they produce a new offspring, which is totally different, far different from the main parent. And because it's totally different from the main parent, there is no immunity at all whatsoever in our system against these viruses. As such, they spread very quickly and crosses international boundaries very fast. And this normally leads to pandemics. The difference between these two emerging strains is that with the other one, we have immunity against them, except that the immunity is not effective. But with the antigenic shift, there is no immunity at all whatsoever. Thank you very much. Let's make sure we protect ourselves and protect our loved ones.